What if the Chosen One never left Tatooine? What if instead of becoming Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker became something even more dangerous? A crime lord who controlled the galaxy's most lawless planet. Today we're diving into a timeline where Anakin's anger and power weren't channeled by the Jedi or the Sith, but by pure, ruthless ambition. And what he builds will shake the foundations of both the Republic and the Empire. Our story begins during the Bunta Eve Classic. Everything plays out the same until the return to Naboo. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan face Darth Maul together, but this time Maul proves too powerful. Both Jedi fall to his blade, but not before Qui-Gon wounds Maul severely. Maul escapes, but his injuries force him to retreat rather than continue hunting Queen Amidala. He reaches Darth Sidious, but the delay disrupts their timeline. Sidious had planned every detail of the Naboo crisis for specific political outcomes, but now must adapt on the fly. The Jedi Council receives Qui-Gon's report about a Force-sensitive boy with unprecedented midi-chlorian readings, but they face an impossible situation. With both investigating Jedi dead and the Naboo crisis still unresolved, they cannot spare resources for a dangerous rescue mission to Hutt-controlled territory. The Council reluctantly decides that retrieving one child from criminal space is too risky when they're already stretched thin, dealing with the Trade Federation crisis and its political aftermath. Anakin returns to slavery, but something fundamental has changed. He's tasted freedom, felt victory's rush, and learned that promises are just words the powerful use to control the weak. The Jedi spoke of liberation but never returned. Queen Amidala promised freedom but left without a second thought. The seed of resentment that will grow into something far more dangerous has been planted. 7 years pass in survival and learning. At 13, Anakin's force powers grow wild and unpredictable. He uses them secretly, influencing Watto's customers, sabotaging rival pod racers, and reading people's true intentions through the Force. By 16, he's become indispensable to Watto's operation. But Anakin has been studying more than mechanics. He's been watching how power works on Tatooine, the criminal networks, protection rackets, and flow of information that keeps the planet's illegal economy functioning. He learns that moisture farmers pay tribute to avoid Tusken Raiders. He discovers that even the Hutts answer to larger criminal syndicates. The turning point comes when Cliegg Lars arrives to buy Shmi's freedom. But Watto reveals devastating news. Shmi is collateral for massive gambling debts far exceeding what Lars can afford. Desperate to help, Lars agrees to let Anakin compete in high-stakes races to earn enough for both their freedoms, providing entry fees and equipment. For a brief moment, hope seems possible. Anakin wins these crucial races through strategic use of his growing Force abilities, not just reflexes, but precognition that lets him anticipate every turn and obstacle perfectly. But during their first victory celebration, disaster strikes. Tusken Raiders attack the Lars homestead in a coordinated assault. Unknown to Anakin, his racing victories have attracted attention from criminal rivals who see his growing reputation as a threat. A competing crime family has secretly armed the Tusken tribes, turning them into unwitting assassins to eliminate potential competition. Shmi dies protecting Cliegg, and Anakin arrives just in time to witness her death. That night, as he buries his mother, something dies with her, his last connection to love and hope. But something else is born. A cold, calculating anger that will reshape the galaxy. The faintest yellow flecks appear in his eyes, not full corruption, but the first spark of darkness. Cliegg Lars, traumatized and sensing the dangerous change in Anakin, quietly leaves Tatooine. His departure removes the last positive influence from Anakin's life, leaving him alone with his growing darkness. But Anakin isn't helpless. Years of observing criminal operations have taught him how they work, who the key players are, where they get their weapons, how their money flows. Using information gathered from overheard conversations and careful observation, he identifies the crime family responsible. Then he systematically destroys them through their own methods, feeding false information to rivals, sabotaging weapon shipments, and turning their paranoia against them. By age 18, their organization has collapsed from within, and Anakin has claimed their assets and territory. With Watto's gambling debts transferred to him after a convenient accident, Anakin inherits the shop and transforms it into something much more ambitious. By 20, what started as a simple repair business has become Mos Eisley's primary information hub and the foundation of his growing criminal empire. Years of serving smugglers and criminals have taught him their languages, weaknesses, and methods. He knows every route, every corrupt official, every vulnerability in the existing power structure. What separates Anakin from other would-be crime lords is his combination of force sensitivity and mechanical genius. He can sense deception while understanding exactly how criminal operations work. Most importantly, he's learned patience. He's building something lasting, not seeking quick profits. When Tusken Raiders coordinate attacks against moisture farms, Anakin offers protection services. But he's discovered something crucial. The Tuscans aren't random raiders. They're being displaced by expanding settlements and growing desperate for resources. To understand his enemies, Anakin begins patient observation. He leaves supplies near Tuscan camps while studying their behavior. When raiders are injured, he secretly provides medical equipment, creating curiosity about their mysterious benefactor. His approach isn't compassion, it's calculated manipulation. Eventually, this leads to contact with Tuscan scouts. Using gestures, force-enhanced empathy, and careful study, Anakin learns their sign language over dangerous months. His force sensitivity helps him sense hostile intentions before they become fatal. Using this knowledge, Anakin negotiates something unprecedented, a formal agreement between settlers and Tuscan tribes. He provides the Tuscans water rights and safe passage in exchange for targeting only farms that refuse his protection. It's brilliant, ruthless, and effective. What makes this strategy insidious is everyone gets something they want. Tuscans get resources, farmers get protection, and Anakin gets complete control over who prospers on Tatooine. He's learned that understanding enemies completely gives more power than violence alone. By 22, Anakin controls most legitimate businesses in Mos Eisley through protection, negotiation, and strategic pressure. But his ultimate target isn't local competitors. It's Jabba the Hutt, who has controlled Tatooine's criminal underworld for nearly half a century. Jabba's long reign has made him complacent and predictable. The ancient crime lord relies on fear and tradition, but Anakin represents something new: systematic intelligence gathering and surgical precision. Instead of challenging Jabba directly, Anakin begins infiltrating his organization from within. Using his network of informants and his force abilities to detect lies and read intentions, Anakin identifies which of Jabba's lieutenants are ambitious, which are loyal, and which are simply afraid. He begins feeding carefully crafted information to create suspicion and paranoia within Jabba's inner circle. The campaign takes 2 years of careful manipulation. Anakin orchestrates precise accidents that eliminate Jabba's most competent lieutenants, while making it appear like internal power struggles. Supply routes are disrupted through mechanical sabotage. Communications are intercepted and altered to create misunderstandings between different arms of Jabba's operation. When Jabba himself finally falls, poisoned during what he believed was a routine meeting with a trusted supplier, Anakin doesn't seize power immediately. Instead, he allows the chaos to continue for months, letting different factions fight over the scraps of Jabba's empire while he systematically absorbs the most valuable assets and personnel. By the time the dust settles, Anakin emerges not as a conqueror, but as the only logical choice to restore order to Tatooine's devastated criminal landscape. The transition appears natural, inevitable, exactly as he planned. The Clone Wars begin, but without Anakin as a Jedi, the conflict unfolds differently. Sidious loses crucial advantages: no insider intelligence, no emotional leverage, no way to orchestrate specific battles for maximum political impact. Meanwhile, Maul's injuries and forced retreat have given him time to think and plan. Rather than immediately returning to his master, he seeks refuge among the criminal underworld he once served. Mandalore's Death Watch provides the perfect cover, as they're already opposed to the pacifist government and sympathetic to violent solutions. When he finally contacts Sidious, their relationship is strained by his perceived failure and unauthorized absence. As the war intensifies, both Republic and Separatist forces find themselves desperately needing secure supply lines through the Outer Rim. Tatooine's strategic location makes it crucial for moving supplies between the core worlds and the front lines. However, Jabba's recent death has left a power vacuum that makes the planet's criminal networks unstable and unreliable. Both militaries approach Anakin independently, recognizing him as the new power broker who can guarantee safe passage through Tatooine space. They're not seeking to establish formal military bases. They need a criminal ally who can ensure their supply convoys reach their destinations without interference from pirates, rivals, or each other. Anakin recognizes an unprecedented opportunity. He offers both sides exclusive access to his criminal networks for logistics and intelligence, but at astronomical prices that drain their war budgets. More crucially, he provides modified equipment and local expertise that both militaries desperately need to maintain operations in Tatooine's harsh environment. But Anakin's real genius lies in subtle manipulation. He ensures that neither side can gain decisive advantage by carefully controlling the flow of supplies and information. When Republic forces plan an offensive, Separatist raiders mysteriously receive warning. When Separatist supply convoys move through his territory, Republic patrols happen to be in the right place at the right time. Every engagement becomes inconclusive because neither side can sustain prolonged combat or achieve strategic surprise. The war drags on far longer than Palpatine intended, draining both sides' resources while Anakin's criminal empire grows wealthy and powerful. The prolonged conflict brings unexpected visitors. Republic intelligence agents begin investigating the unusual patterns of military failures on Tatooine, suspecting either incompetence or treachery. Among them is Aayla Secura, a Twilight Jedi who specializes in undercover operations and criminal investigation. When she arrives posing as a smuggler seeking work, she discovers something that challenges everything she's been taught. Here is a criminal organization that functions more efficiently than most legitimate governments. Former slaves have become skilled administrators. Different species cooperate effectively without the bureaucratic friction that constantly plagues the Republic. Most disturbing to Aayla is realizing that Anakin's methods produce measurable results that Republic policies never achieve. His territories experience genuine prosperity, effective law enforcement, and social stability during a time when the rest of the galaxy tears itself apart in endless warfare. Over months of investigation, Aayla finds herself questioning not just her mission, but her fundamental assumptions about justice, order, and the proper use of power. When she finally reveals her true identity to Anakin, her report to Republic intelligence contains a shocking recommendation. Rather than shutting down his operations, the Republic should study and learn from them. Her resignation from active duty and request for extended assignment on Tatooine creates the foundation for an unprecedented partnership between a Jedi investigator and the galaxy's most successful crime lord. 3 years into their partnership, Anakin and Aayla have transformed from crime lord and investigator into the most effective criminal leadership team the galaxy has ever seen. Their combined abilities create unprecedented control and efficiency that no traditional criminal organization could match. But their success creates an unexpected problem. Other crime lords want to learn their methods, while law enforcement agencies want them eliminated. Anakin realizes that to survive and grow, he needs loyal lieutenants who can operate independently while remaining completely trustworthy. The solution comes from an unlikely source. As the Clone Wars intensify, Tatooine becomes a refuge destination for displaced individuals seeking safety and income. The planet's neutral status and Anakin's reputation for fair dealing attracts desperate people from across the galaxy. former Republic bureaucrats whose departments were eliminated by wartime budget cuts, ex-military officers cashiered for refusing unethical orders, failed business owners whose enterprises collapsed under war taxation. These refugees arrive on Tatooine through the same smuggling networks that Anakin controls, making him the first point of contact for anyone seeking opportunity in the Outer Rim. His organization essentially becomes an employment agency for displaced professionals who have nowhere else to turn. These aren't traditional criminals, they're competent professionals driven to illegal alternatives by circumstances beyond their control. Anakin begins recruiting the most promising candidates, offering them something no other crime lord provides: genuine respect for their skills and fair compensation for their loyalty. But Anakin's most valuable discovery is that some of these recruits possess latent Force sensitivity that was never identified by the Jedi Order. His own Force abilities allow him to sense potential in others, the way a person anticipates danger slightly too quickly, makes intuitive decisions that prove remarkably accurate, or demonstrates uncanny timing in negotiations. During the Republic's 1,000-year peace, the Jedi became increasingly insular and bureaucratic, missing countless Force-sensitive individuals who didn't fit their rigid recruitment criteria or lived in regions they rarely visited. The Clone Wars have created chaos that allows Anakin to quietly identify and recruit these overlooked Force users. Within 5 years, Anakin commands a criminal network that spans multiple star systems, staffed by professionals who are genuinely committed to his vision, rather than merely afraid of his power. His organization doesn't just run illegal operations, it provides services that legitimate governments fail to deliver. When Palpatine declares himself Emperor and dissolves the Senate, he discovers that entire sectors no longer recognize his authority. They haven't rebelled or declared independence. They've simply transferred their allegiance to criminal organizations that actually meet their needs more effectively than the corrupt Republic ever did. When Palpatine declares himself Emperor, the galaxy doesn't simply accept his authority. The Clone Wars have weakened central government control, and many systems that supported the Republic refuse to acknowledge Imperial rule. These worlds don't become rebels, they become independent, forming loose confederations for mutual protection and trade. Anakin's criminal network finds itself in the unique position of providing stability and services to these independent systems. Unlike the Empire's authoritarian control or the failed Republic's bureaucratic chaos, Anakin offers something different: efficient administration that focuses on results rather than ideology. The few surviving Jedi, scattered and hunted by Imperial forces, find themselves caught between competing loyalties. Some join the emerging Rebel Alliance to fight the Empire directly. Others seek refuge in the independent systems, where they can practice their beliefs without persecution. A handful, recognizing the effectiveness of Anakin's methods, quietly collaborate with his organization while maintaining their Jedi principles. But Anakin faces challenges that traditional crime lords never encounter. His network has grown so large and successful that it's essentially become a shadow government. He must balance criminal profits with legitimate governance, maintaining loyalty among both professional administrators and hardened criminals. Most dangerous of all, his success has attracted Imperial attention. Palpatine views Anakin's organization not as a simple criminal enterprise, but as a direct threat to Imperial authority. The Empire begins launching military operations against Anakin's territories, treating them as rebel strongholds rather than criminal operations. This forces Anakin into open conflict with the Empire, while simultaneously competing with the Rebel Alliance for the loyalty of independent systems. He must prove that his practical, results-oriented approach to governance is superior to both Imperial oppression and Rebel idealism. The galaxy has effectively split into 3 spheres of influence: Imperial worlds, ruled through fear, Rebel territories fighting for freedom, and independent systems choosing competent criminal administration over failed, legitimate government. In this new reality, the distinction between legal and illegal becomes meaningless. Only effectiveness matters. 34 years after Anakin chose crime over freedom, the galaxy burns in perpetual war. Three powers compete: the Empire's authoritarianism, the Republic's chaotic democracy, and Anakin's pragmatic efficiency, while billions suffer in the crossfire. At 43, Anakin Skywalker commands the galaxy's largest private military, with resources surpassing Emperor Palpatine's. Aayla serves as his intelligence chief, running spy networks that penetrate every faction. Together, they've created a new approach to the Force, one focused on practical results rather than Jedi balance or Sith power. But Anakin isn't seeking peace through conquest. For 3 decades, every trade deal, refugee settlement, and technological advancement has been calculated steps towards something far more ambitious. His massive construction project, built with voluntary labor from his prosperous territories rather than imperial slaves, represents the culmination of his entire rise to power. Engineers compete to work on what they believe are separate infrastructure projects for galactic peace, unaware they're building toward Anakin's ultimate gambit. The story ends where it began, on Tatooine, in the very shop where young Anakin once served as a slave. But now the modest repair facility has become the nerve center of the most powerful organization in galactic history. Anakin stands in the exact spot where Watto once owned him, looking out at the bustling spaceport that has become the unofficial capital of a third of the galaxy. Aayla enters with the day's reports. Another Imperial system has requested to join them. 3 independent worlds have agreed to his economic proposals. And his administrators have successfully ended a famine that the Empire ignored for months. This is Anakin's true victory. Not conquest through violence, but transformation through competence. He's proven that the Force doesn't require mystical philosophy or ancient traditions. It simply requires the will to use power responsibly and effectively. The boy who was abandoned by the Jedi, dismissed by the Republic, and enslaved by corruption has become something none of them could imagine. A leader who actually leads, a ruler who actually serves, and a Force user who uses his abilities to solve real problems for real people. The Chosen One didn't bring balance to the Force through prophecy or destiny. He brought balance to the galaxy through choice, skill, and an unshakable determination to prove that abandoned slaves can reshape the stars themselves. If you've enjoyed this journey through an alternate Star Wars timeline, there are more untold stories waiting to be discovered. Join our growing community of Star Wars enthusiasts who believe in exploring these what-if moments that could have changed the galaxy far, far away. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and activate notifications to catch our next alternative Star Wars story. Each tale offers a new perspective on the characters we love and the choices that define them. Remember to share your thoughts in the comments below. What other pivotal moments in the Star Wars saga would you like to see explored differently? Your ideas might inspire our next adventure. May the Force be with you, always.